tractor, but I'm out onto the red pine forest in just a moment to pick up a log. And there's actually 2 logs out there. One of them is a small log, 12 feet long. It's going to be making a post. The other one is to make a beam. Now the other one is going to be the challenge, and it's not going to be a challenge for the tractor, but it's going to be a challenge for the sawmill. It's a 21-foot length log, and it's got a diameter probably about 11 or 12 inches. Now I need to cut it into a beam for that new sawmill shack I'm building. So I'm going to take the tractor, and I've got a chain hook up on the back, and I'm going to tow those 2 logs over to the sawmill and see if we can somehow cut a 21-foot log on my Woodland Mills HM130 that is only designed to cut approximately 17 feet, give or take. We'll see how that works out. Regardless, I'm glad you guys are all along, heading out to the red pine forest, so in my books, life is good. Let's go. This might be one of the things you guys struggle with when you're trying to skid out a 21-foot log. My trails aren't exactly the widest thing, and as you can see, trying to make this 90-degree corner, not really working. I just don't want to damage the inside of that other red pine, so I'm going to try to manhandle this a little bit, roll it a bit, and continue on. Oh yeah, bring the cant hook along if you're out doing this type of work. Well, I think that's as good as we're getting. Let's see how we work. And we made it. Now if you guys have a look-see here, you guys can see how well my new chains work. These are just short sections of chain. They're only about 5 feet long, and I've got these new slip hooks on it. And I want to give credit or give props or whatever, say thank you out there to my dad. My dad was the one who picked those slip hooks up for me. And if you guys saw in my other videos, I was struggling with your typical hooks, you know, the hooks that lock onto the link. I was struggling with those for a long time, and I don't know if it's being too cheap or too stubborn or not having the resources at the time, but I just never got around to buying those. So thank you to him for grabbing those for me. So I got 2 separate chains going on now, and I've got the slip hooks, and as you can tell, that's a pretty fine and dandy setup. That lifted it right off the ground. We made it out here, although the trails were looking a little worse for wear. I think the big challenge is not so much getting them here, but getting them up there. So let's see how this goes. Here we go. Well, this isn't exactly going to plan. That was just kind of a temporary log bunk anyways. As you guys know, I'm rebuilding it. But getting a 21-foot log onto a 17-foot log bed is probably not that convenient. At least not in this circumstance. So bear with me, we'll get her done. Hold on. Okay guys, that is what it looks like to get a 21-foot log onto a 17-foot log bed. That was a pain, and you know what, that was not fun. Now we got it here, and I'm now down 2 log bunks. Mind you, I had to take them apart anyways, but doing this on a regular basis is not going to be fun, and the moral of this story is I'm never doing that again in this circumstance. Probably what would have been easiest is if I had nothing out the far end here, I could have just brought it in the end. And I don't know why I'm so out of breath. I must be out of shape. Anyways, for this new setup, as you guys can tell, that whole end is open. It's open for reasons like this. If I want to bring something big in like that, I just bring it in the end instead of trying to fandangle it here around the post. And that was the hard part, just getting it around the post. All this other junk here. If I could have just brought it in the end, that would have been great. Anyways, I think that's going to be the hardest bit. Let's do the rest of it. We're just going to square this thing up, make it into the biggest cant we can, and that'll be a 21-foot beam for the main part of the sawmill. Here we go. Alright guys, good morning. It's the next day here, and it's the next day for a reason. I made a bit of a boo-boo as I was trying to turn this nice red pine log into a beam for my sawmill shack. Now I'm human like the rest of you, and every once in a while I forget one step that turns into a major problem. This is what happened. So this log, to begin with, as you saw, this was a bit of a struggle to get into place. I got it here regardless. This log is, so I thought, 21 feet long. Turns out it's 22.5 feet long. That probably should have been my first indicator that things were going to go downhill. Secondly, I forgot that when you have a log that is longer than your sawmill bed, it is possible to turn it into a long beam or a long cant, but you got to do one critical thing. What that is when you start off cutting the first cut, so we're talking the cut along the top, you have to start and you have to finish. You can't just end off part way and flip the log. What ended up happening for me was I assumed that I would just square off all four sides as far as the mill would go, and then I would push the log down and square off this end. The trouble with that is, and the thing that I forgot, was that by not getting this at the same plane as that, this ends up touching when this does not. Why is this not touching? Well, it's because I took the sides off it, right? I took the sides off here, but I didn't take it off here. So as a result, it's actually got a bit of a slope to it, this log, and I don't realize it because it's so slight until I've cut all four sides and realize that the dimensions right here are smaller than the dimensions down there. So that's sort of thrown a wrench into things for me, and I'm only human, so I'm going to make those errors. I guess on the bright side, I didn't run the sawmill into the log stops there. I didn't cause any sparks, nothing broke, so such is life. Anyways, what I'm going to do to sort of fix this issue is, instead of fighting with this, now that I've cut it too small down here, I'm going to just cut my losses. I'm going to make a cut right here with my chainsaw. So I'm going to have a smaller beam. I'll still use that piece, but instead of having it as one piece, it'll just butt up on top of the post. So that's one of those things. Have a toolbox of tricks at your disposal and usually come out on top. So that's what we're going to do. I got the chainsaw ready to go. We'll make this cut and we'll square it off. Get as big of dimension as we can get. I don't know what that's going to be. And we'll get it up there eventually. So there we go. Now you guys know. Let's get down to work. Well guys, another good day of cutting here. I think I'm one step closer to finishing my next sawmill shack, Hillbilly Hideout Part 2. As you can tell, the Woodland Mill's the HM130. This old girl's been in service for quite a while with me, and it's done a really good job. So I'm going to put this thing through its paces again, probably in a little while once I'm looking at finishing up the sawmill. But for now, I think we got that big beam licked, and I got to figure out a way to get it up on top of those posts. I think I told you guys the posts are about 11 feet tall, give or take, so I got to get it up there somehow. I don't know what that beam weighs that I just made, but if you guys have any suggestions at all that, well, won't break the bank or hurt myself, I'd love to hear about it. Guys, you all take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.